Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on Luca. And you guys, today I have a very great candidate, Alberto. We had a great conversation. He is candidate for Starr County Sheriff. And this is an area, Starr County is an area that is right by the border. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely really appreciated the conversation we had. And I really appreciate the fact of you wanting to run and why it's so important for you to run. So please introduce yourself and let our audience know who you are, what you've done, and really why you have decided to jump into this race, and become a candidate for your county.
Sure. Well, Melinda, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Thank you for Luca and everybody over there that made this possible, Tony and everybody else. So yes, my name is Alberto Ramon Olivares. I am a native of Starr County, Texas. I grew up here, went to school here, and lived all my life here until I graduated high school, went to college, moved away for a degree, obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice, Texas A&M International University. After graduating, I went full-time with the Starr County Sheriff's Office as a young 22-year-old deputy sheriff on patrol. I also, from there, I went to the Rio Grande City Police Department, where I also stayed there for a few years as a police officer and a detective. In 1997, I applied and was hired with the United States Border Patrol, where I had a pretty good, very, very good career, a 26-year career with them. I just retired this past October, almost 6 months ago. So overall, 32 years in the field of law enforcement, a lot of experiences, 2 police academies, a federal law enforcement training center as well. And just met a lot of great people, learned a lot, did things in my last 32 years that I never thought I'd be involved with, but it was all, part of getting the experience and I guess preparing me for this next chapter in my life.
Let me thank you on behalf of everybody for your service. I mean, that is a lifelong service, and what a career you've had.
Yeah, and thank God for keeping me healthy throughout these years, and the things that we've been through, and the things that happen and that we go through on the board. But yeah, thank you God for keeping me safe and bringing me to this point in my life. So you asked me why I'm running for sheriff.
Yes.
Well, last year, January 2023, I knew that was my retirement year. And, I needed to figure out something to do, and it couldn't just be, staying home and being fully retired and being a cattleman. So, I thought about different things that I could do. And then, I came to my senses and I realized, why am I trying to start something brand new that I've never done before, when this is my field? This is what I studied in college. This is what I've done for, at that point, 31 years. The training, the education, the experiences, and then the want to continue to serve the people of Starr County, Texas, in a more direct way as a leader of the sheriff's office here.
Yes.
So all those things, knowing that we have weak leadership in the sheriff's office right now, and just seeing a lot of the things that just are not sitting well with the people. The people not having the choice to choose a candidate, but because the incumbent has run unopposed every single term. He's never had an opponent. So all these things, the fact that I was retiring, it was like the planets were aligning, the stars were aligning. And you know what? This is my field. I'm not going to run away from it. I think I got a lot that I could offer, yes, to the county and the sheriff's office. And so I'm giving it a shot.
I love it. Now, I think this is what really took me aback during our conversation, what I learned about Starr County. Again, you guys are right on the border, and you have not had a Republican sheriff there in 118 years. 118 years. So obviously, as you can see, one of our guests here said, it's a stronghold of the Democrat. And I mean, that is very concerning, especially with what we're watching today, with a wide open border, with the policies that the Democrats are pushing that obviously are not working. Not just for the United States, but our state of Texas right now that is literally being invaded.
Yes. So the last Republican sheriff that we had here was W. Shelby, and that was in 1906. You're right,
Wow.
118 years ago. It's been a while. But you know what? I think the times are changing.
Yeah.
In the communicating with the people, block walking, in the events that I've hosted and places that I've gone and attended. I'm getting a very, very positive response to my campaign, me as a candidate, and a lot of times I'll throw that out there, my party, because initially I thought that was going to be a problem, and I've had podcasts with other folks who I go in great detail about the whole. I used to be a Democrat, I myself, and it wasn't
I think
until
we all
halfway through
were.
my board career that I started seeing things different. Yeah, but so the people here are now, I think they're willing to just look past party lines and wanting to make the best choice for them, for the people, for progress, for improvements, and so that's what I feel. Yeah, we are right on the border. We're Starr County is up against the river, and our neighbors, Mexico to the south. We have had just an unprecedented number of illegal aliens entering our country under this administration. Almost 7.5 million in 3.5 years, roughly. And so you talked a little bit about the state and their efforts, and so I applaud Governor Abbott for what he's done. I do want to say, the people in the Border Patrol are great people. The leadership there is just great people. I'd even go as far as saying the CBP level. Once you get to the DHS and the White House, that's when we start seeing just a lack of will to do their job. The agents have their hands tied. I was muzzled when I was, before I retired. We can talk about the reality. Now I'm no longer muzzled. I'm retired, and I can speak freely. And I can tell you from my experience that the agents want to do their job, but the White House, the DHS level, and some politicians have lost their will for us to defend the border. This could be easily defended. One of the other podcasts that I attended, we talked about the policies that were put in place by the previous administration. It took about 2.5 years for those to kick in, but the last half of that administration, we started seeing the numbers drop just drastically. We were to a point where the Rio Grande City Border Patrol Station, at that time, was usually the busiest Border Patrol station for drug seizures, and everything just started just to get under control, and it was through effective policies. Congress and the White House were fighting for more funding for this, that, and the other. Like a true politician, the answer is always more money to a problem. But the reality is that we already know what policies worked under the previous administration. Why don't we bring those back? January 2021, when the inauguration happened, that very day, an hour or two later, the president started doing away with executive orders from the previous administration. By July, at my previous station here in Rio Grande City, we were getting thousands of apprehensions a day, every single day. And so we knew that was happening. So we don't need to throw more money at the problem. We just need to policy. Well, we thought it was going to happen faster, but by June, July, things were chaos. It was, but again, we were muzzled. We couldn't talk about it. We couldn't talk to the media. The media couldn't come into our facilities. Our parking lot was used as a detention center because the cells were just way too small. We had over 1,000 people in custody at the parking lot. I mean, so, we saw after that.
I think, if I may, some of the, some, especially Americans like myself and many Americans, they don't understand. And we still, it's really hard to fathom that, a federal government has that kind of power over our first, our law enforcement, our first responders, the border patrol. And, and I think a lot of people get frustrated, and maybe you can help with this question, but I know I hear a lot. If everybody individually takes an oath to uphold, how does the federal government, who is obviously violating that oath, supersede what each individual person and entity with, within their rights, within the oath that they took, to not be able to do their job or to pursue and ensure that the oath that they took was to uphold and protect the citizens of their community?
Yeah, so we've heard the phrase, elections have consequences, and so
Yeah.
that's the best thing that we can say and respond with. But you're right. We the president's foremost, responsibility is protect the people, and
Yeah.
so we had an invasion. I don't know if you saw. I'm sure you did the
Yeah.
invasion in El Paso. I think it was March 21st.
Yes.
They weren't responding to concertina wire or fences or National Guard or
They
Border
were
Patrol.
busting
They didn't
through.
care. They forced their way in. I mean, if
Yeah.
that doesn't define an invasion, what does? But unfortunately, the politicians haven't held the White House accountable. They haven't held DHS accountable. There was, I think, Secretary Mayorkas
Yeah.
was brought up to Congress, and I think he was in the news again today. But he was impeached by the House,
Mhm.
and the Senate hasn't done it. So
No.
I don't know. I don't know that it's politics is what it is. But hey, elections have consequences. And I think not just people here in Starr County, but across America, they're ready for change. They want
Yeah.
that border secure. We've had over 300 known terrorists apprehended in these 7.4 million that have come across illegally. Those are the ones we know of. What about the ones that got away that we didn't catch? How many of them are
Exactly.
in this country waiting for orders to
Exactly.
execute some type of terroristic plan? So,
Well, and that's one of the
yeah,
points that I make to a lot of people. Luca, as you know, we are an organization that is on the front lines within our local communities, right? It has to start at our local community. The people have to be involved, and where we the people, and we educate and invite and share what the power of the people looks like, what it means for us to be in power, right? Because we're supposed to be in power. And that also
right.
comes down to, who are we putting in office? Who are we electing? Are they God-fearing people, civil servants? Because that's even what myself as president of Luca, I consider myself a civil servant, because I'm here in my community of my to serve our people by educating, by putting on events, by showing up to the sessions, by showing up and inviting people to vote, we register people to vote, by really, we have to get back to what it looks like for we the people to be in power of our government. And so for too long, we sat complacent. For too long, we didn't do our job. It's our civil duty to show up. It's our civil
It is.
duty as citizens of this country to show up and to ensure that we're electing people like yourself that are like, hey, I should be retired right now, but I literally cannot sit here and watch what is happening, to my state, to my community, which essentially affects our whole country. Because like they say, it's not just the border towns anymore. Every state in this country is now a border state. We are, with this
That's right.
invasion.
So
So what are you
one of the other.
proposing? Oh, go ahead.
Well, first let me add to what you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, in yet another podcast that I went to, I talked about what the constitutional republic was and how we elect people into power to represent us, to make decisions for us as needed on a daily basis when laws are being created or whatnot, to represent us. But we don't go out in a true democracy to vote for everything. So I had a little bit of that discussion on a previous podcast, and so that's the fact that I'm running is a little bit of a testament to that I consider myself a citizen politician. I never wanted to be in politics. I never wanted to
Right.
do this. I'm totally out of my comfort zone here, but I'm doing it because I see a big need I see this sheriff's race go on for what, 5 terms now. This will
Yeah.
be the fifth term, and nobody has offered opposition. And so, how good is our constitutional republic when you don't have the option to choose? You get what you get because that's all there is, and that's what I
Right.
call a de facto sheriff, somebody who, the people want a change. They want something different. They want better. They want somebody who
Yes.
communicates. They want a good leader, not a poor leader. They want somebody who is engaged with the people, with the clubs, with the other politicians, with the city governments, the county government.
Yes.
The current sheriff hasn't been to commissioner's court all last year, didn't go to commissioner's court. How do you petition for your people? How do you fight for them for benefits or salaries or equipment if you don't even go to the people that fund you and say, this is what I need an increase? But people are paying attention. People want change. I think they wanted change. They just didn't have an option. So this election cycle, I'm going to provide them with that option. I'm going to let them decide. Let the pieces fall where they may. If I come out on top, I guarantee you there's going to be some very positive changes for the people of the county, for the employees of the department, and for anybody who visits our county here in Starr County, Texas.
Nice. That is wonderful. And so, I think you're right. And I wanted to add to that. There are many Americans that are waking up, like you said, not just there. And myself coming from New Mexico, I'm in the same boat as you. We've been democratically held for 100 years. Yet, we rank the most violent state in the country. Right. So, people are looking for the change. People have woken up, but my fear is that I still see a lot of people that are completely about the socialistic policies. Are you seeing that in your community? Or are you seeing an abundance of people saying we're tired, we're done? We are ready to change. What are you gauging there?
You know what we really see here, and this is pretty consistent, is people here are all conservative. I say all. I'm sure there's one or two here who are not, but overwhelmingly, I think the people in this county are conservative. They believe in supporting our children. They believe in God. They believe in protecting the police and standing up for the police, a strong military, and defending our Constitution. They believe they have conservative values. Now, back when I was growing up, the Democrat Party had conservatives in there.
Yeah.
Now you might have one. You might have Tulsi Gabbard or somebody like that, Joe Manchin. That's about it. But the party has shifted, and the people's values haven't. And that, to me, is what's causing them to look past the party lines, forget the party, and they're just looking who will better represent them. So it's a little bit of a waking up. I don't think they're waking up. I think they've already woken up. In this race specifically, I don't think they've had the option. So I'm looking for good things to happen here in November the 5th.
That is wonderful. And it makes me so happy to see that. And that's what we hope to educate. A lot of people say, Melinda, to be honest, a lot of people feel that, especially in the Hispanic community, that they don't see a lot of the endorsements. As I said, as a community, we have to show up. We have to jump in the race. We have to get involved. Here in Lubbock, I became a precinct chair. I'm now a state delegate. And we're really hoping through our organization that we can consistently and continue to educate the importance of showing up. Right now, our CEO and our founder is running for mayor. And with what I learned in Lubbock, Texas, and we're the red wall, Lubbock, Amarillo, Midland, Odessa, we are considered the red wall of West Texas. And what I learned here in Lubbock is that out of 180,000 registered voters, maybe at the most 50,000 show up to vote for local elections. And that is a big problem that we are having. That is a huge issue that we're having, is that we don't show up. And most people think that they just need to show up when it becomes, when it's time to vote for president. But our states, our communities at a local level, the sovereignty power that exists that can trickle up. It's never been a trickle down economy or a trickle down policy issue. It literally needs to be a trickle up, where the local is so strong. We have a good stronghold of our local issues with our local civil servants, the politicians, and everybody, and then essentially that makes, you know, us as a whole, as a country, stronger. So we do have to show up, and I really hope that and door knocking works. But I mean, I don't know, is that the case? Do you see that there as well? But I believe that's a big issue that we're having across the country, is that a lot of people just don't show up for these local elections and don't realize the consequences. Like you said, elections have consequences that it really has on our day-to-day lives when we don't show up. And I believe that's how they continue to have power.
Yeah, you know, in the 2020 election, we, Starr County, ended up with, I want to say it was 13,000 and some votes that came in. And so seeing what has happened in the last 3.5 years, and how the people are just, you know, upset, the economy, the border, international, you know, relations, and everything else that is always on the news. I think that is we're gonna you know, surpass that number, I think, easily. And the way I see things for my race, I think the more people that come out, the better for me. The fewer people that turn out, that's probably going to work against me. But I think the presidential race is really going to turn out a lot of people, and I'm eager to find that out on November the 5th.
Wonderful. And now, so is there anything that you want to share with your community? What do you need? You know, how can they get involved and help you with your campaign? Because, you know, even for us, as you know, as far as Luca, we show up and we do block walking. We get the message out. You know, we make sure we have that support. You know, is there anything that the people in your community can do to help you with your campaign to ensure that you get across that finish line?
Yeah, the best thing that I can ask the people of Starr County to do is show up and vote. Compare the candidates, forget the parties. Look at what I have to offer. Look at my opponent. You decide who the best person is for the position. I think if people can see things like that clearly, I think I'll be okay in this election. So, yeah, we've done some block walking. We've done some public events. I'm going to have to do a lot more block walking. Again, I've never been in politics. So people, you know, it's hard getting my name out versus a 16-year incumbent. But I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and do the hard work. I'm not afraid of that. I've done that all my life. A rancher and farmer, and you know, federal agent. So I'm willing to do that, and we have done that. We're going to do some more of that next week. We got 2 full weeks of activity scheduled already. My team and I are going to put together a big effort here in those 2 weeks. Melinda, if I can, I'd like to talk a little bit about my platform.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody who's watching or listening, you can go to my webpage and find a lot of information about who I am, how I grew up, my family life, you know, my work experience, my education. And again, more importantly, is my platform. There's a couple of buttons on there. And the webpage is www.olivaresforsheriff.com, olivaresforsheriff.com. And there's a lot of information there. You can also find me on Facebook under Alberto R. Olivares for Starr County Sheriff. And I'm putting out a bunch of videos going forward here. I'm going to be putting them out regularly about the situation, my ideas, and things I want to do. Please follow me on those. I'm also on TikTok as Starr Lawman, Starr with a double R, like in the county, Starr Lawman. And some fun videos in there too. But about my platform, so in all the communicating and all the visiting with people that I've done, because I talk to the people, and more importantly, because I listen to the people, I've kind of adjusted my platform and the priority. I used to have street level drug enforcement as my priority, and the construction of a new jail as my second priority. But I flipped those around because the people are responding much better to the construction of a new jail. And on onset, it doesn't sound like, you know, why would they do that? But when you describe the plan, that's what makes them follow. And so here's my plan. Currently, the jail was built for 250 detainees. They added about 50 additional bunks a year and a half ago. So that brought them up to about 300 bunks. Why do they add bunks? Because they're renting those bunks to the federal marshals. And the
Oh,
federal marshals are paying $70 a bed per day. So we know jails make money. The fact that they added 50 beds tells me that they know that it's a good thing, right? But
right.
the on the flip side of that is that so you only have so much room, and you can only detain that many people there as per Texas standards. So what happens is they try to release the people that need to be held locally, not federal marshals, but our own detainees. They try and flush them out that door as soon as they can to make
Oh,
room for a paying bed versus a bed that's going to cost them. So what I propose is building a 1,000 bed facility, having 200 beds for our own needs. So if we have somebody who's being violent and aggressive, or somebody who just shouldn't be on the streets, has a bed, yet we still have an additional 800 beds that we can rent to the U.S. Marshals. If we can do a contract with them, minimum is $70. There's other counties that are paying over, they're paid over $100 per bed. Depends on what you
wow.
offer as a facility. So at the very bare minimum, 800 beds, $70 a day equals $56,000 per day, 20.44 million in 1 year. The entire county budget here is about 22 million. We're a poor, small county. And so 22 million is the entire budget, roughly. This project alone would bring 20 additional million dollars, 93% more
Wow.
money, not for the sheriff's office, but for the commissioners to decide how to invest that with the people. Community centers, cleaning streets, paving streets, city lights, fire trucks, animal shelters. We don't have an animal shelter. There's stray dogs everywhere here. These are things that haven't been addressed because there's a lack of funds. This project would give us that. And here's the kicker. This plan was already presented to the current administration, but they chose to pass up on it because it was too much work and too many headaches. So that just shows the level of disengagement, or maybe the lack of
Yeah.
confidence in themselves to do a
Yeah.
project like this. But we can't keep doing that. If you're holding a public office, you should be doing everything in your power to make sure that the people that you serve are given everything that you can, and to put this project aside because you don't know how to do it, or you're afraid of doing it, or you don't have the confidence in your people, or whatever this led to that decision, just a lack of will, really.
Yeah.
Then you know what? You need to be called out. You need to be called out. You need to be replaced, and that's what I'm doing here. So the second platform item is, oh, by the way, a new jail is going to bring jobs. You get more jailers, more people in the
Absolutely.
kitchen, more custodial, more maintenance, more. You're going to have to hire nurses for the facility. These are all good good paying county jobs with benefits. We don't have a lot of industry here, so every single job that somebody can add is good. It's people
I
want
love
that
that
job.
even as a sheriff
Um,
position, you're looking for economical growth
yeah,
within your own
yeah,
position.
you have.
You would think to leave that up to like the city council or the mayor. So God bless you. I mean, it's wonderful to see even just, as a sheriff that you have ideas and these great ideas for economical growth for your community. God bless you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other item that I'll cover quickly, I think we're running out of time, but the other item is street level drug enforcement. I retired from the Border Patrol. I can tell you that this station here in Starr County was the busiest station of the Border Patrol in my years there. And so we know that there's a lot of drugs coming across this county. So
Oh
what
yeah.
happens every time one of those drug loads come across, they take a little bit and they leave it for the local level. So
Mm,
so CBP, DEA, ATF, HSI, all these federal agencies are focused on the big picture. They're looking at what's trying to go up north. What stays in our streets is up to
mm,
local law enforcement to address. As the chief
yes.
law enforcement officer of the county, as a sheriff here, I would put together a team. It doesn't have to be a robust team. It just has to be a dedicated team. That's what they're going to do day in, day out. We already know who the suppliers are. Let's just target them. Let's build a case. Video evidence, photograph evidence, buy bus, do all these things law enforcement does to build a case and support our children. Anybody who's selling in schools, near schools, parks, churches, theaters, places where children congregate. That would be my target. I want to put those people out of business. I want to lock them up. If somebody's going to sell drugs to my, I want to know who they are, and I want them locked up. So that was the second platform item. There's two more on the, actually there's three more on my webpage. I invite everybody to go.
That's awesome. Yes, we're about out of time, but let me tell you, Alberto, it warms my heart to meet people like you, candidates like you, that just have such a love for their community that has, I mean, as it is, you've already spent your life to community service. And the fact that we're living in a time where you said, yeah, I just can't stop. And I have a vision. And because these people, the incumbent, has never been ran unopposed, to give the citizens and the people an option is such a wonderful thing to see. Again, it warms my heart. And this is what it's about. This is what I love, and why Luca gave you an endorsement, because this is exactly the work. This is exactly what it takes. Yeah. We have to get up. We have to get involved. We have to bring just how we live and what we've done, and say, yeah, this isn't working, and get involved to make the changes. It's the only way that it's going to happen. So, to all of the people in Starr County, please consider, Mr. Olivares here for sheriff, because to me, I mean, it just seems like it's the best thing that can happen to your community, to your county. And we know, especially on the border, what you guys are up against. So, I mean, I'm gonna be praying for you and for your success and for your community. Yes, absolutely. And is there any other way that the people can get a hold of you before we go? And you've already given them your website and platform, but is there anything else?
Yeah, my phone number is on my Facebook account, Alberto Olivares for Starr County Sheriff. Feel free to call me. That's public. I don't mind. Support for signs. If you want to invite me to a facility and talk to the people, I've had some of that happen already. Of course, financial contributions are always welcome. Reach out to me. But thank you for having me. Thank you for Luca, Tony, and everybody over there that made this possible. To the people of Starr County, Texas, I'm looking to make things better for you. I'm here not owing favors, not doing favors. I'm here clean and ready to serve. I ask you to go out to vote, take a friend, take a relative, and let's make a change. It's time for a change, Starr County.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you for everybody that chimed in today. Make sure you click and subscribe. We've got some more shows coming up as well. And we've got a big election year coming up November 5th. So everybody, make sure that you get out there and you vote for Mr. Olivares here for Starr County Sheriff. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks.
Thank you. Hope to see you again soon.